I didn't imply it. There is, for my view, it's simple. I said it at the beginning. There is fiscal transfer, a large fiscal transfer from England to Scotland, from London basically. It's actually from the City of London. From London wealth comes to Scotland. I think that's a good thing. I'm a socialist. Those figures.
That's misleading, John. That's just misleading.
You know the transfer is used to pay off the debt that Westminster, Scotland's share of the debt that Westminster has accumulated. That's why. Yes, it is. That's why there's a fiscal transfer.
The fiscal transfer is straightforwardly the difference between taxes raised in Scotland and public spending in Scotland, and that has been tracked through JERS for years, and it's around.
Most of it is debt repayment,
It's
which
not
is what
debt
the guy's just saying. It is.
Yes, it is.
Plenty of reports that
You know
show
that's true, John.
Can I make a different point?
Let's have, because we can all have a wee talking to each other time, so let's have the chap at the back who's got hand up, then chap two doors down.
Yeah, the problem with what John McTernan says is that he's part of a spin system, which is what Better Together is all about. And that is what Westminster is all about. Westminster is a corrupt system. It's there are only two parties that can get any kind of power at Westminster, and they've both come right into the centre right of politics, because that is the only way to get votes of Middle England constituencies that they need to get. There's absolutely no way that the Labour Party is socialist anymore. For a 5-year parliament, the last 3 years of that parliament are spent trying to win the next parliament, and it's all about votes, it's all about winning. A proportional representation in a truly democratic society is something that would deliver things that people want, rather than things that are required to win an election.
And just ask you.
And that won't happen in Westminster. That will never happen.
Just ask you, John, because I mean, we could be questioned from that, you know, the SNP's social democratic credentials, and I think that's absolutely right. But in what way are the politics you're representing a socialist politics? Because I don't see a socialist politics represented. They weren't represented in New Labour. There's a social democratic impulse in that, but you know, it was in compromise with neoliberalism. And then Ed Miliband's Labour Party isn't the Socialist Labour Party. I mean, it's not to dismiss all of those traditions either. There's good things happened under New Labour. You listed, quite a few of them. That's all correct. There's good things Ed Miliband stood for as well. Stand up to murder, things like that. But what way the politics you're talking about socialist?
Well, the first thing is the comrade at the back who's filming me. What are you going to do with the film?
I'm going to, I don't know, send it to my brother, publish it online. I don't know.
Okay, that was discussed before. Fine.
I wasn't here at the beginning. Sorry if we weren't supposed to do that.
No, it's not.
I can delete it.
Fine. I'll never say anything that I wouldn't defend elsewhere. Okay. I'm not part of a spin machine. I'm just a freelance journalist.
Okay.
No, it's, you don't see, this is part of the backdrop of the independence campaign, which is disturbing, which is there's a notion that if people disagree with you, they're part of a conspiracy.
No, that's
No, I didn't say
That's not the same.
That's something that the guys that you make a point of doing is you deliberately make out that this is the position. As soon as you're faced with opposition, this is your. I mean, you represent everything that's wrong with British politics and the PR side of things.
actually listen.
Okay, but
So you don't want to listen.
Can I clarify one of the things that John does, which is spin, to make it clear that he is a spin doctor? So he talked about transfers. He talked about you talked about transferring money from the City of London to Scotland to cover our public spending, but the transfers from London to Scotland have been completely different to what you're saying. So we have transferred more money to London in taxes than they have raised per person in the rest of the UK. That's an absolute fact over every single one of the last 30 years. Yet you've made it sound like because of the debt that they're building up, we're getting more money to spend than we should. Far from being a subsidy junkie, we are actually subsidising the rest of the UK for the past 30 years, and it's a fact. If we hadn't actually had to pay for all the debt that you've built up over the last 30 years by having the oil resources of our own, we wouldn't have any debts in Scotland. We wouldn't have had to pay for all the debts that you've built up in your system in Westminster to pay for Thatcher's
Our
dole
system
queues.
in Westminster.
That's what it's paid for.
Our system in Westminster.
It's not my